Welcome to the U.S. Marshal Training Services. You guys should know we have a zero tolerance policy, meaning for people breaking rules, policies, or really anything. Meaning the fact is, you brought into a responsible and respectable elite unit. You guys are gonna be held that standard. So that brings you on the next topic about the fact that it's 3 strikes on your record. They do not get removed. They do not time out. Once you receive a strike, it's 6 on you until termination. Meaning the fact is, 3 strikes, then you get terminated. Unless you get terminated for before the 3 strikes hits. But the biggest thing you should know, those will not leave your record. Yep, do not go away until termination. When you are also on duty as a marshal, you're to be respectable and be responsible on duty. You're going to be held to a higher standard. There'll be no goofing around, no acting stupid. Follow the rules, policies, and everything, and you should go well in this department. This division. So, biggest thing I want to make to approval, the way you get promos here is the fact is after you get through the main training, it's going to be you're going to get your deputy state. Go more in depth what's going to happen after we get done with this in section. So, what are U.S. Marshals? U.S. Marshals are the higher division that's going to be dealing with felons. That's our main priority. As policy, as responding document dictates, we're going to deal with anything that deals with a felon. Meaning the fact is, if he's role-playing, he's probation, if he has a gun when he's on probation, or he's a past felon, and obviously that's not going to work well in this. Meaning the fact is, like I said, work with felonies, anything on a traffic stop, and it is code 5, we can get involved in. If they're being pulled over for a felony, we can get involved in as a backup unit. We're not going to take priority on it, meaning the fact we're not going to immediately jump on the person that's leading it and say, okay, we're taking this over from you. No. We're going to be as a backup unit, and then we'll take them into custody, and we'll book a process for them. Transport's another thing we do. If they need a suspect transport that's got a higher value threat, we'll be there to make sure he's all good and sent out. Biggest thing you're going to learn is becoming deputies. We should go more about that ending. We also we are technically ICE as well. We deal with illegal immigrants. Meaning the fact is, if somebody is not giving up a name, they're not willing to give up a name, then we deal with them as in a John Doe. They don't want to give ID, they don't want to give name, do facial recognition, we do fingerprint recognition, and we just go through our database we have for dealing with that. To see if we can get a name back or where they come from, where they come from, so get some kind of connection, either deport them or charge them with a deportation status. Alright. We also deal with the airfield. We're going to make sure it's safe. We're going to make sure everything's legal. It's within the law. Meaning the fact is, do you have a reason to be there? Alright. You have it signed off by a marshal, or just so we know what's going on here is legal and within the rights of the airfield. Bring me another thing is, for the only time we don't have as much jurisdiction, we still have jurisdiction, is when security forces are online. If security forces patrolling the airfield and they have it under reserves, then we still have all grounds on airfield. It's just when people enter, they have a little bit more leeway. If they say they own it, then okay, security forces got it under control, and it's been leased out. So that means we have to abide by their ruling as well. Okay, so we also deal with backup unit. We also deal as a backup unit in case of, for all priorities we can get involved in. As in, 1099 is called, you were required to go to it, which has a backup unit. Code 5's up to you if you want to go to it, give support if they request it. or if you just want to go and watch, just make sure that in case they need help. Any scene that is big enough where you believe as a U.S. Marshal you can give help in, that's always the best thing to do. You're going to be a top unit, you're going to be able to know what to do on scenes, how to be a role model, how to be a leader in those scenarios. So people are going to look to you and see, what do I do on a scene like this? And then they look at you and say, okay, I'm going to follow his example. Alright. So, like I said, we went over ice, we went over the airfield, we went over how to what we do in baseline of dealing with on requesting Viva on scenes with code 5s and felony stops, and more along the we're gonna have more documents based on the felonies, basically the most wanted list. We're gonna have the higher value targets. Now, basically, if we go back to also the more airfield, we're going to have coverage over that. Basically, check if people have pilot's licenses. That's the best thing if they're coming in on plane. Check if they have a pilot's license. If anyone trespassing on the airfield, get them off. We're going to be less lenient with trespassing. Meaning the fact is, if they are on airfield, it's going to be 9 out of 10 times, it's going to be an arrest for trespassing. 1 time, if they're being really compliant and they had something going on there, but it's not enough to back up why they're on the airfield, then we'll let them go with a warning and get off the airfield. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a trespass charge. Get them booked, read them the rights, process them. They're going to be less lenient with that because people keep abusing it, so they're going to get trespassed as soon as they get set up on the property. They got enough warning signs, they don't need any more. And if they are coming out of the airfield for saying they were on a flight, then check with air traffic control for flight records, see if what they came on, what they if they actually have their ticket still, and if air traffic controls knows that plane of landing. Then if people are coming in for transporting goods, as in cargo, we're going to check if it's flight record if it's personal transport. If it's transport, we're going to double check if the cargo is being transported correctly. Food is being stored correctly. Oil is being contained. All necessary cautionary stuff is be treated within care, so it's not creating a disturbance and or chaos epidemic on scenes they go on to. Biggest things we got to do. If you need any more information on that, ask me directly or talk to your responding document. Your responding document is going to tell you what all we can get onto that, and that is subject to change at any time. That is it for section 1. Any questions?
Do you know when we're on the airfield and there's a pilot coming in?
Yeah.
Do we wait till they stop and then they get out, or do we go up to their plane?
For safety, we're going to wait for the plane to go ahead and stop, land, and shut the. We're going to, if need to, contact aircraft control to relay a message out to the pilot saying you need to shut your engine down, step out of the plane. We don't want to go straight up just with our patrol car up with lights to the plane because it's going to cause a wreck. So we want to be doing with the most safety and precaution we can. If anything fully means /me air traffic control to current plane on airfield, this airfield can get you to shut the plane down and step out of the plane for us to have a chat. Have a chat with marshals that are on standby. Communication is key when dealing with planes. We don't want to cause a wreck or an accident. Any other questions?
3560 questions.
Go ahead.
Still regarding the airfield, you said 9 out of 10 times you will get an arrest. Is there any situation so basically whoever trespasses, whoever enters the airfield, they automatically trespass, correct?
Yes, there's enough signs around the fences to dictate this is trespassing on government property.
So if they do, let's say /me has a permit, it doesn't matter.
No, unless they can come up with a reason why that permit is going to be valid. Viva, why are they there? are there for a lawful reason. If they're not going to have a permit to stand in the airfield. One, they're going to cause an accident with a helicopter or a plane. That's going to cause a disturbance on that airway, and it can cause an accident. So no, they cannot just have one just to stay there. They have to
Okay.
have either valid if they're picking up cargo, they were on an airplane, and they just got transported there, or they're waiting for a flight. There's no just gonna get a permit to be on the airfield in general.
Okay, and the last question regarding the illegal aliens. You said we get them, we use facial recognition and fingerprints to identify them. What if none of those come back?
If not, then at that point you fully charge them as a John Doe, which
Okay,
there'll be charges in the penal code when I get those set up for illegal alien.
10-4.
Any other questions?
That automatic John Doe and illegal alien, that's going to be automatic deportation, right?
10-4. I will announce that more in depth when the penal get updated for the U.S. Marshals section. All right. We're gonna go ahead and go to section 2, your loadout and setup. So, with becoming a marshal, we're gonna get access to new loadout. It's gonna be pretty much most of your standard equipment from law enforcement. You're gonna have your taser. You're gonna have your flashlight. You're gonna have your nightstick. The nightstick, we're gonna have ones that are gonna be retractable, so we got those taken care of. You're not gonna have on you, but if you need to, you can have your tool chest in toolbox inside the back of your cars, which is gonna have crowbar, all the fine-tuned equipment you need just in case for emergencies. You could have your advanced medical bag. U.S. Marshals gives us a little bit more detail for more advanced medical. So if you need to be able to stop bleeding mass, or you need to be on standby for, say, if the whole bunch of situation with a lot of officers down, you're the highest trained unit that's going to be to give medical. So you're going to start administering aid, no big control in that situation, keep calm, collective, and try to treat everybody. Also, so along with your taser, your toolkit, your medical supplies, you're going to get your, like I said, your taser. You're going to get your secondary now is going to be your pistol Mark II. With this, you're going to have is going to be your standard first sidearm. That's going to be your first step you're always going to go up to. You're going to get your taser. Like I said, it's going to be rules of engagement and or escalation of force. Your local, your nightstick or fist, then up to taser, and then lethal if necessary. So your pistol is going to be your first step after your taser's not working. You need to hold down a security. Hold down security. So you got your secondary, which is your pistol Mark II. With that, attachments have to be realistic, as in right now flashlight I don't care for, and I'm gonna keep just no holographic on that. Just you're gonna have your flashlight and then your ammo type, which is gonna be you can be hollow points or full metal jacket. It's up to you on a situation like that. Those are the only two you should be using: hollow points or full metal jacket on all these. Okay, so now then we go to our secondary. Primary is going to be our shotgun Mark II. It's going to have holographic sight. I don't mind on it. Flashlight, and obviously you're going to use steel buckshot shells. Don't need to go anything higher. We don't need dragon's breath. We don't need anything else. Just steel buckshot is what you're going to use. For if you need to breach into a house, breach into a door, you can blow that lock out and be fine and be able to go in.
You said the holographic is optional, right?
Yep, holographic is optional. Flashlight is optional as well. As deputy marshals, that is what you're going to be receiving. Is you're going to get pump actions. It's going to be a little bit with the first. Mark II's got a little bit more accuracy with its longer range, so that's the reason why we got you using steel buckshot, so it can be used for longer range. When you get up to seniority, you'll be able to get access to your next step of weaponry, which is going to be the G36C Special Carbine Mark II. Give it a little bit more access. Like I said, these are all Mark II variants, so this one's going to have your holographic sight is going to be optional. Your grip's going to be optional. Your flashlight will optional, and then full metal jacket or hollow points. This one is you're going to get in seniority. You get to senior U.S. deputy, senior marshal. You're going to have access to the G36C. Now, and then also you're going to have your miscellaneous equipment, your flare, your fire extinguisher, just for cases, situations like that. Pretty much goes for most of the equipment. Supervisors plus can approve suppressors for TAC ops, meaning if we're gonna have to move in silently to breach a building or something like that, they need us to gather and you're ready to move in. Supervisors can clear suppressors to be put on the guns, just for a silent approach. There's no changing your equipment once the rank you got, your equipment's given to you. There's no changing that. If you want to change it, then you found out you change it, you're gonna get dealt with. It's gonna lead to a strike. Okay. So, vehicle you got to be able to use is Marsh. That's your spawn code. So, basic deputies are going to have to use the skin marked with the U.S. Marshals on the siding. They are always required to be marked unless the supervisor ops have to do something different, which their vehicles can be unmarked. So, obviously, the obvious thing, no performance mods. We're not in it. We're not disputing the rules. We are following the rules as well on that. No tint. The cars have default tint on them, and none of the big anything for the actual that changes the vehicle. So, and also for your uniform you should be using, it is in the policies SOP. Says exactly what you can use. Tells you also associate director can wear it what they want. They must stay within style. Probationaries, the senior must wear vest at all times. That might change for the seniors depending if how well it works. And then supervisor plus can wear leg holster. And you have a wide variety of what you can use for your uniform. Now, get ridiculous with it. That can be easily revoked. I will set a strict uniform down to it. If you're found trying to stay outside the walls of the uniform, or trying to just be barely on the line, then I'll just go ahead and restrict you. Trying to give you guys some leeway with styles that you can use better, but not being so restricted where you have to use, we all look the same exactly. Give you some play. Okay. Like I said, duty belts aren't taken care of. Vehicle information's already done. There'll be another vehicle later on that'll be discussed later when it gets brought out to us. That'd be most for your section 2 for loadout and setup. Any questions?
Nope.
Alright, so section 3, we're gonna go ahead and talk about KIT. So, KIT is civilian interaction training, meaning how well you react to and towards civilians. So, as a martial unit, we're going to be respectful towards the individuals. They're smart-ass to us, we're not going to be a smart-ass back to them. You're a federal unit, show some respect, even if they don't show respect to you. Be the bigger person. If I see somebody arguing back with a suspect, I'm gonna straight pull you to the side. It's either gonna be a strike, or I may feel like you're not ready for this yet, and you're gonna be put back to probationary. I'll let you sit there for a little bit, riding along with people, until you learn to be respectful. Like you said, we're not above them. we're on the same. We're basically we're here to help civilians out. Make sure they're all following the law. Make sure felons are being watched and allow them to live life, but not being just out with no control. Be respectful and professional towards civilians, meaning if they're an asshole, like I said, don't be one back. Professionally, your U.S. Marshals, keep that in mind. The way you conduct and act yourself, or act and conduct yourself. Be aware with escalation of force, meaning don't just point. If you're pointing a weapon, make sure it had to come down to that and you're ready for it. I don't want to be hearing no misfire or anything like that. Once that weapon's pulled and your fingers on that trigger, be careful. Never aim your gun at a civilian unless you plan on using it. It also goes with firearms training as well, so knowing when to pull your weapon and when not to. Situation can be dealt with without needing to pull your gun, so keep that in mind. We're here to de-escalate situations, not escalate it. As soon as you pull that gun and our point, you've already escalated it up to what it needs to be at. There's no, I'm going to put it back away and be good. You've already escalated it up. So know when you need to pull that weapon and when you don't need to pull that weapon. Also keep in mind with the uniform, we're going to try to keep at least neatly shaven. I allow beards, but within reason. I can have a full scraggly beard, but at least keep cleaned and a hair kept up, neat and tidy. So that's pretty much for kit civilian interaction. Any questions for section 3? Okay. So section 4 is traffic training. So when you're going code 3 to a call, or you say you're coming from a scenario and you have to go code 3 somewhere else, biggest thing I want marshals to realize: when you are going code 3 somewhere, you always pass on the left. The only exemption of this rule is semis, tractors, the ones that won't move, pass on their right. You always will pass on the left if there's room. If there's not, for the semis, pass on the right. Any other vehicle, if you need to slow down, pass on the left. We're not going to be involved in pursuits unless it's needing us to be too. So most of the time, you're just going to be responding to calls and get ready to get on scene. So you're going to pass on the left, slow it down. We don't need to go 150 to 60 to somewhere if it causes us to pass on the right, cause an accident or something like that. No, slow it down and pass on the left. It's the biggest thing I want people to learn. When you're on as a marshal, you're going to be watched. If I hear you're passing on the right or not wanting to follow the traffic condition we have here, then we're just going to head and have a talk, and if not, if it needs to be a strike. If you're going routinely when you're going code 3, I want your secondary siren on and your primary, just so people will hear you coming. Don't need to switch them around, but just make sure they can hear you coming. And if you need to pass multiple vehicles, or you're seeing that it's busy, hit the bullhorn a couple times. It'll help you get to that intersection and cause people to realize, oh, there's a cop coming up, I should probably get over. It's also going to be anticipating AI or players. So if you reckon to them, that's your problem. It's a problem you're going to have now. We're not going to say, oh, they didn't move over and I wrecked into them. No. If they don't move over, or they're being a little slow, slow down, pass on their left. Make sure they know. It's not going to be an excuse, oh, they didn't move, so I crashed into them. No. Anticipate them, get around them. Never go through an intersection. If you need to go through an intersection as well when going code 3, you're never going to never go through an intersection without hitting your bullhorn a couple times. That means 1 or 2 times hitting your bullhorn. Just so they know, hey, we're going through, be ready, or slow down or stop. Going through intersection with just your sirens, they won't know how fast you're going, and so slow down and hit your bullhorn a couple times. That'll help you out and help the drivers that are around you out. Tells other drivers around you to pay attention, to keep you in mind. said, never pass on the right side of the car. Always try to pass on the left when it's safe. And safe is the key word. Be mindful of the vehicle when you're traveling to a scene or going code 3. How will it act? Is it a heavy vehicle? Will it flip if I drive fast? Keep that all in mind when responding. These Crown Vics have a heavier body, so meaning they won't exactly flip, but if you're not careful, that back tire will spin out on you. So if you're heading code 3 somewhere and you do a quick right turn or left turn, those back tires will go out from you. And where are you going to go? Either into a ditch or hit a pole or something. So slow it down, take the turn, and get it going. We don't need accidents because you guys want to get there super fast. So not our main priority is get there super fast, just get there safely and intact. And like I said, keep that all in mind when, like, is the vehicle heavy? Will it flip? What terrain am I on? What weather is it? Is it raining? Is it snowing? Keep all that information in mind when responding code 3 to somewhere. Okay, section 5, scenario training and CQB training. So, scenario training. When needed to control the scene, you're always to keep your cool and stay calm. There's no need to get flustered or nervous just because you're put as scene command or a lead of a scene. If need to be, slow it down, think, stay calm, and get it done. We don't need saying no. Shut it. Think, take control. Right, you guys are here from elite unit, thinking outside the box, problem solving. That's the reason why you're here. We expect you to be able to, on that time spot, what's the problem? How do we get to it? Or how do we get it done? So like I said, you want to keep your cool and stay calm. If you're just on a scene as backup or as an additional unit, like I said, just you're never going to be on a scene doing nothing. Always think, what can I do to help out the scene? What can I do to help it go faster? You know, what was there a job I can do? If anything, if you are completely clueless, I have to figure out why you're in U.S. Marshals. But if you're completely clueless and you need to ask the scene command, hey, is there something I can do? Then go ahead. No one's going to kill you for it, but they're going to question what we expect the marshal to know a little bit more what to do. Also with CQB, we're going to be taking more responsible in how we will take down a suspect, how to approach a suspect, or if someone's barricaded or has a gun, we're going to be a little bit more tactical with how we approach that said suspect. So, a little bit more detail. So take our alley to our left. So say if we have a suspect that is back there, we're gonna have the main two or three units go in the front, and we're gonna have somebody flanking from the right and left. Find all possible exits we can surround the suspect so we can get him dealt with it fast. Pincer, surround, take down. Situation: we don't need everybody stacked on one spot at certain times, so you're gonna be able to you have to think on certain situations. Do you want somebody to flank? Do you want somebody on your overwatch to make sure watch your 6 so no one can sneak up on you guys? There's multiple suspects. Keep in mind where a suspect is, where's his exit routes? How do we, where we know he's gonna go to, where's he gonna come from? So the biggest thing we want you guys to learn is thinking outside the box. How can we take the suspect down without losing casualties? That's the biggest thing we want to do. With the other main thing with breaching, make sure you follow GSRP's policies for training. Once you're behind a fellow marshal or another cop, keep your weapon down unless the officer in front of you falls. Then you're ready to fight. So, so that is section 5, scenario training and CQB training. Anybody have any questions?
465.
All right, go.
This is for the last section. Do you know when we go on as U.S. Marshal, do we do 1041? Do we go on patrol, or do we just wait for a call?
You can drive around. I'm not gonna have anything about you not being able to drive around. But obviously, you can't get involved in regular traffic stops like your policy dictates. You either can
Okay.
patrol, like say if it's Blaine County, you got to get 2 airfields you can patrol. You can make sure keep an eye on those 2 airfields. And then also keep in mind, just patrol around for, and if you ever see any felonies happen in front of you. Felonies happen in front of you. So someone gets murdered, be ready to hop and take care of that, or just watch out for officer safety. You see them on a traffic stop, you don't need to pull up behind them with your lights on. Just maybe pull a little bit from down the road from them and just watch. Make sure it's all safe and sound, just for officer safety or just precautionary. And always keep an eye over RTO in case someone needs backup as a code 5 or anything like that. Any other questions?
356, one dumb question. Tear gas is not in our loadout, correct?
No, we'll leave that for SRU. We don't have
10-4.
room for tear gas. If need be, supervisors can approve a marksman rifle we have access to at the most it can be. In weapons, it's going to be a sniper rifle. It's actually going to be this. It's going to be this straight normal bolt action sniper rifle. That's all we're going to have access to. We don't need anything higher. We don't need the 50 cal. We just need a normal sniper rifle with just an advanced scope and suppressor. Mostly suppressor B, suppressor plus. Any other questions for section 5? Alright, so section 6, job training. We already went over a little bit of the responding document. Like I said, what can and can't do. That's the biggest thing. The responding document is key for that section, for what you can respond to, what you can't respond to. No traffic stops unless it involves felon or code 5. That keep in mind to be able to pull someone over for, can't be for a normal traffic stop, but if you see someone commit a felony in front of you, you can get involved with that. I mean, the fact is, you see someone police impersonation, they have a red and blues or have yellows on the road, trying to pull people over. You can pull behind them, stop them, take care of them. If you see someone committing a felony in front of you, then that's when you can step in and take, not do a traffic stop, but just basically get them in handcuffs and deal with them.
Be careful, I add something real quick.
Go ahead.
This speeding thing, I know when you guys pull people over as far as GSP goes, and you got somebody doing 140 and an 80, and you're like, oh, it's a felony upgrade, code 5. You guys, if you see somebody doing 140 over 80, can't pull that guy over because there's actually no such thing as felony speeding. It's just a term that is used pretty much like scare the person or make them cooperate or anything like that. So you still have to radio that in, even if it is 25 over the speed limit.
Yes, it is called felony speeding because it is a scare tactic police departments use to scare an individual for that. There is no need for that speed, so they call it felony speeding. It is actually a misdemeanor within the penal code, so I don't want to see officers trying to get involved in that. My marshals getting involved with that. Don't be getting involved with their code 5s unless exactly relates to if they have a felony for it, or unless they're being really uncooperative with the officers and they can be risk going anything higher. So just a code 5 for just speeding, I'm not gonna. Just be careful when responding to those. Fact is, I don't really want people responding to code 5s just for that speeding, because it's not really necessary, because of a misdemeanor. But just keep an ear on RTO. If they say, oh, I'm pulling them over for what the reason for the code 5 is, just make sure you keep that in mind, so it's an actual legit reasoning for code 5. If it's not, I don't want to see a marshal showing up to it. They can have a normal GSRP unit for that. Alright, any other questions with the responding document on what you can and can't respond to? Alright, so far that'll be conclusion. Thank you for signing up for the U.S. Marshals, effective as soon as I get all the paperwork set out in stone for you guys. The people that are here are going to become FTO, they're going to become trained, meaning the fact is they're going to be able to go on their own, but within policy dictates. Keep in mind of your policy before going on duty. So, yeah. So give me a second. Congratulations on the first class of U.S. Marshals.